Imagine waking up tomorrow and every word on earth has disappeared. No talking, no texting, no books, no names, no way to tell someone what you're thinking. You see smoke rising in the distance. Is it a campfire, a forest fire, an enemy tribe? You know something important is happening, but you can't explain it. Today, language feels as natural as breathing. But for most of human history, humans didn't have it. So how did our ancestors survive? How did they hunt together, raise children, share knowledge? And perhaps the biggest mystery of all, how did humans go from making random noises to creating every language on Earth? The answer is stranger than you might think. Let's travel back hundreds of thousands of years. Long before cities, long before writing, long before the first alphabet, a group of early humans gathers around a fire. They look human, they think human, they feel human. But something is missing. Language. At least not language as we know it today. Many scientists believe our ancestors communicated using a mixture of sounds, gestures, facial expressions, and body language. In other words, they weren't silent. They just couldn't have conversations. They couldn't tell stories about yesterday, or discuss plans for next month, or explain complicated ideas. Their communication was limited to what was happening right now, and that created a huge problem, because survival depends on cooperation. Imagine hunting a giant animal with 10 other people. You spot it first. You need to tell everyone, go left. Stay quiet, it's behind the rocks. But you don't have words, so what do? You point, wave, signal, make sounds. Researchers believe gestures may have been one of humanity's earliest communication systems. In fact, even today, people naturally point before they speak, and many great apes use gestures too. A simple hand movement could mean, come here, look, there, danger, stop. It wasn't language, but it worked, at least for simple situations. The problem came when humans needed to communicate things they couldn't see, things like tomorrow, or memory, or imagination. And that's where everything changed. Humans have a strange ability. We can talk about things that don't exist. Think about it. You can discuss dragons, aliens, the future, a vacation you haven't taken yet, a story that never happened. Most animals can't do that. Their communication is usually tied to the present moment. Humans are different. We live partly inside our imagination. But imagination becomes far more powerful when it can be shared. And to share imagination, you need language. So at some point, our ancestors faced an evolutionary advantage. The better they communicated, the better they survived. Groups that shared knowledge had an edge. Groups that couldn't fell behind. And slowly, communication became more sophisticated. Now comes the mystery that scientists still debate today. What was the first word? The truth is, nobody knows. There are no recordings, no written records, no fossils of words. Language leaves almost no trace behind. But researchers have theories. Some think language started with simple sounds linked to objects. A sound for water, a sound for food, a sound for danger. Others think it began with gestures and only later evolved into speech. Some even suggest singing came before speaking. Yes, human language may have started as something closer to music. Whatever happened, it didn't occur overnight. Language wasn't invented by one genius caveman. It evolved slowly, generation after generation, tiny improvements accumulating over thousands of years, until eventually, sounds became symbols. Symbols became words. Words became sentences. And suddenly, humans could do something extraordinary, transfer knowledge directly from one mind to another. Imagine discovering a poisonous berry. Without language, every new generation might have to learn that lesson the hard way, by eating it. With language, you simply tell your children, and they tell theirs. Now, knowledge survives longer than any individual human. This changed everything. Humans could build on previous discoveries instead of constantly starting over. Fire-making techniques, hunting strategies, tool construction, survival skills. All of it could be passed down. For the first time in history, knowledge became immortal. And once that happened, human progress accelerated. Fast, but language didn't just help humans survive. It helped humans unite. Imagine two tribes meeting. Without language, cooperation is difficult. Trust is difficult. Large societies are nearly impossible. Language allowed humans to share something even more powerful than facts. Stories. Stories create shared beliefs. Shared beliefs create groups. Groups create civilizations. Every nation, every religion, every company, every sports team, every culture exists because humans can tell stories. A lion can communicate danger. A human can communicate an idea. And ideas are far more powerful. There may never have been a single moment when language was born. No magical day when one caveman suddenly spoke in complete sentences. Instead, imagine thousands of small steps, a new sound, a new gesture, a new meaning, over and over again for thousands of generations, until one day human communication crossed a threshold, and the world was never the same. Because once language existed, knowledge could spread, cultures could form, civilizations could rise. And eventually, someone could ask a question like, how did language begin? Every book you've ever read, every song you've ever heard, every joke you've ever laughed at, every argument you've ever had, every YouTube video you've ever watched exists because long ago, a group of ancient humans figured out how to turn sounds into meaning. And what's truly amazing is that right now, while you're listening to these words, your brain is decoding vibrations in the air and turning them into ideas, an ability so ordinary that we barely notice it. Yet, it may be the single greatest invention in human history. Language, the thing that transformed a clever ape into a species capable of changing the entire planet. And it all began before anyone had words to describe it.